Short form 2 is the last of the requirements for Kenpo Karate for Christ purple belt curriculum. With short form 2, we're going to start utilizing the diagonals. Some with short form 1, we just looked at the 4 corners to the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then the 9 and 3. Now we're going to do our diagonal points as well. There's only a couple moves really to each side. It's still just kind of running through some basic steps, but the movements are going to start to look more like techniques. Because as we approach short 3 will be the first of our forms, and then from that point on we'll actually be using the techniques from the material, techniques from the level, techniques that you've studied and learned up to this point. So the reference will be by name of the technique that you've already studied. They're starting to look more and more like the self-defense techniques that we've learned. So short form 2 is going to begin from our salutation, and we're advancing forward. It's inward block here, followed immediately by an outward hand sword. So they do strike, we'll inward block, and then an immediate outward hand sword. That's our forward section. And from here we're going to chamber. We'll do a lot of this chambering idea. And I'm going to come off first towards 9. I'm doing a left vertical outward block with a cross punch at the same time. And then I'm going to come to chamber and do the other side. Vertical outward block and cross punch together. There. So we've done our sides. Now from here I'm going to move back to 6. From our chambered position first, I'm going to turn back to 6 with a left step back. And as I turn, we talked about in Kenpo Shield how when someone's throwing a punch, and if we're using a high block defensively, we have to drop our weight as well. So that's what's happening in this case. You're doing a high block and we're dropping down into our wide kneel position. And as you do that, we're going to use that middle knuckle position that we've used so many times in this level, and it's going to be a downward vertical middle knuckle strike. There aren't many targets you can hit with this. You can come inward with this knuckle on a horizontal plane because the finger position allows for that. It can hit through pretty hard that way and not collapse on itself and not break your finger, but there's no support up and down for that little finger. So if you're hitting down onto a skeletal target there and you catch that finger, you will break your finger. So as we're dropping down here, ducking under the punch and dropping down, the only target appropriate for this downward knuckle is through the groin here. Boom. So we're dropping down and kind of raking through the groin at the same time as we face 6 with the left side forward, and then it'll turn and face 12. So far what we have, we're advanced inward block, hand sword. Other side does inward block, outward hand sword, right? We're in chamber, step off, block and punch. Chamber to the other side, block and punch. Now we're going to chamber, step back, drop into a wide knee, wide kneel, left high block and right rake. I'm going to chamber to the left and step back with the right. Now I'll turn to face 12, and the right will high block while the left does this middle knuckle rake. There. And that's my front and back, side to side section finished. And then we're going to go to the diagonals. So again, from the top, inward block, hand sword, inward block, hand sword, chamber, block punch, chamber, block punch, chamber, we drop back, high block and rake, chamber to the front, high block and rake. Then we're going to chamber, come to the back diagonal. I'm going to turn with the downward block, and then advance. This is like thrusting salute without the kick. Palm strike. I'll come to chamber, go to the opposite diagonal now towards our 730, right downward block. I'm going to step forward with the left palm strike to the chin. There. Now from here, going to the front diagonal, keeping my feet on this line, I'm going to cross inward block with the left. So I draw my right foot into a cat stance, do a left cross inward block. I'm going to step out with a vertical outward block, keeping that shield up. Then I'm going to do a half fist strike like we do with striking serpent's head, using the line of the knuckles. That'll go right out to the shot to the throat or another soft target attack there. And the left foot's going to slide up here onto the 1030 line. I'm going to do a right inward cross block and step with the extended outward block with the left. I'm going to do a half fist strike. I'll step up with the right and close. That's the whole form. So the whole thing together, we advance. Inward block, chamber, block punch. To the other side, block punch. Chamber, we drop back. High block and rake. To the front, high block and rake. We chamber. Then we're going to turn to the back corner, downward block. And the thrusting palm strike, chamber coming back the other way, downward block, thrusting palm strike, and we cross inward, extend it outward, and half fist. Other side is a cross inward, extend it outward, half fist, and it steps up to close, and that is short form 2.